Well, Toto isn't just the mischievous dog from Wizard of Oz that scared the shit out of the Cowardly Lion. It's also a brand of shoes that allows users to get taller while wearing them. Ever since Jax wore Totos at the Valley reunion, they've been flying off the shelves like a witch on her broomstick. Go online and get Toto shoes today before they sell out and go back to being behind the curtain. And that's our ad for Toto shoes to start the episode. My name is Riley Hamilton. I'm joined by Amy Scarlatta, and this is Turtle Time.
Wow, we got to get you some of those.
I know. I was looking them up because, I saw this on Page Six, my favorite news source. Between Queens and Bravo and Page Six, I feel pretty covered news-wise. And then I saw this and I go, I want to look these up a little bit. And it's true. I think they lift you about 2 inches up from the ground. And if I ever wanted to, for some reason, appear 6'4" for a couple days or a week or so, maybe at BravoCon, why not wear Totos? That's kind of fun. What do you think about that?
I would love it. You should get fancy ones for BravoCon. I'm disappointed that I didn't immediately notice this because we've talked about Jax wearing lifts for years, and I usually have an eagle eye for stuff like that. But I think since I watched it on my laptop, I was just not clued in on it. But it kind of went like wildfire. I saw it online like 10 times.
Yeah, I didn't really see it except for Page Six, but once I saw it, I said, oh no, that fits in line with what we've talked about in the past about Jax wanting to get a couple extra inches. And then I looked at his height, and I think he's like around 5'11", 6 foot, but he wants that extra, that boost, that 6'2". He really wants that, I guess. And then, it's made me think about how this is much more present than I have ever realized in my life. Like if you would have told me 1 out of 15 people is walking around with big boosters in their feet to appear taller, I would have never believed you until now.
Is that what Toto says?
Toto says it's much less. It says it's much less remarkable than you think. 1 out of 15 men like to get an extra boost when they're walking around in crowds, and so
you just see Jax poking his head out of a crowd. You're like, who's that?
That is an awesome ad for Toto too. You put a big crowd of people, and then you have Jax appearing with his chin above all of their heads, and it says, "Stand out in the crowd, get your Totos." It's I don't know. I don't think it's just a silly thing to think about, to know that this is true. And then Megan kind of opened my eyes to a world, you too, where people in photos, sometimes you'll see one little stinker is in the back and he's on his little sorry, not little. They're on their tippy toes and they're trying to get a little extra 2 to 3 inches, or they're spreading their legs in sort of a
Yeah. We had multiple people pointing out that Dave Portnoy stands on his tippy toes, and I was like, I've never noticed that, but now I'll keep an eagle eye out.
Yeah, it's kind of, and then you, who was it? It was Robert Downey Jr.
He's the king of the lift.
So I didn't know any of this. You can see his boots, and then Brock remember?
Brock will just wear straight up heels, which I think Jax should just start wearing those little chili pepper steppers.
Yeah, I like those chili steppers too. I'm kind of divided. I don't mind if you outwardly show that you've got big heels, but also I don't mind a little Toto in there if you want to appear like, hey, I got to go to a tennis court. I still want a little bit of a 2-inch head start on everyone, but I don't want
wearing those like 2013, or it was like somewhere between like maybe 2015. I feel like Lala wore them a lot. Those like sneaker wedges that like all the girlies were wearing.
I'm gonna do it one time just to be fun. I think at BravoCon, if you see me and I look like I'm 6'4", just know that I'm wearing little Totos or heels. It's just something to consider. And then they even started to show you the inner workings of these boots, and it's kind of like what's that mouse trap Rube Goldberg apparatus to try to raise the heel, but also make it look passable, like the shoe is still
it's
not giving it
very
away.
Funky looking. I highly recommend anyone to look up just look up like Robert Downey Jr. Lifts or whatever, and someone on Reddit, I think it was at one point, drew they drew a like drawing of what's actually going on within like he's wearing it's almost like a boot, but it's very clear that hidden within the apparatus between the ground and the ankle, that his foot is somewhere in between.
It's really cool. I mean, so the advances in this kind of heightening technology has gotten to the point where I'm like, oh, I can't even tell. Where are boots? Where are those Totos? But, funny, kind of a funny side effect of the Valley reunion, a little viral thing that happened, for everybody to sort of take pleasure in and poke fun at Jax, I guess. Well, in addition to Toto news, did we totally cover that story, do you think?
We towed the line and passed it.
Well, we have to give a huge congratulations. I sent this to you yesterday
Oh, yeah.
on Instagram. I said, this is fucking huge. It's a huge testament to Scheana's power. I don't care what the fuck she did to get this. I think she went on the press run of the century. Scheana busted her ass, and she got the New York Times bestseller on 2 different lists. I don't know how the fuck at all the New York Times bestseller works when it's like, this is this list, this is combined hardcover. I'm like, I don't know about that. I would
Yeah.
just be like, for the rest of my life, I would say I made it onto a bestseller list, and Scheana did. She's like 4th on this beautiful
I
list that
didn't
just came out
see a
last night.
dagger on there, did you?
No. At first, this is mean, but this is not mean. But my first thought was that Scheana did post a heart next to her name. And I go, oh my God, she didn't cover her dagger with that heart. And it was like, no. Immediately, that horrible accusation that shouldn't have ever even been levied was dispelled immediately, because I looked at the original and she just wanted us to know where it was. And there's not one dagger. I mean, do you remember Stassi's? It had 3 daggers and blood was dripping from one of them. So that was like the worst case scenario, but Scheana didn't have one dagger. So
Yeah,
I'm really
hers had
proud of
like
her.
a knight of shining armor next to it.
Yeah, it was I mean, it's a huge feat. And I think we have to agree, no matter how you feel about Scheana, how you even feel about the book, she busted her ass to get that New York Times bestseller, and Scheana gets to say best-selling author, New York Times best-selling author for the rest of her life. We all would do it. If you and I wrote a best-selling book, no matter what it took to get there, we would talk about that forever. Everybody else would. So a huge
Yeah.
win for Scheana, and Scheana heads like me get to rightfully scream from the rooftops. A huge
Yeah.
win. We fucked up big time here, so we're just inserting ourselves post-recording because we have urgent news here. We found out after we recorded that there is just this very small little dagger next to Sheena's name on the New York Times bestseller list.
Just a little one, like a little like knife you would keep on your ankle in
You, but, yeah, you blink and you miss it. I couldn't even see this thing. It's like this very small little dagger, but it does indicate that there was some daggered behavior on Sheena's part. But still a huge win, right, Amy?
undeniably. But yeah, we didn't want to lead you astray and have you marching into the street saying there was no dagger. So this is our update.
All right, so we're going to leave you back to whatever the hell we were saying back when we recorded this originally, but that's it. A little small, tiny little update. Goodbye.
Bye.
Yeah, Audible tried to be like, since you listen to my good side, why don't you try give them Lala? And I was like, get out of my face.
It's like, how do I tell you, Audible, your algorithm, that those are not the 2 same things, even though they're celebrity memoirs by 2 cast members on the same cast?
Not the same.
Yeah, not the same.
Yeah, it also wanted me to do Kristen Doty's, but
I read that.
Yeah, I just, whenever it's the thing like Stassi's where it's like the tips, I like can't do it.
We've said this. We've
Yeah.
said this before. I think it's very valuable advice. Carl Radke, everyone brewing up that memoir in the future, do not have some gimmick, the 10 biggest Carl facts of all time to take with you through life. Stassi's basic bitch guide, just a celebrity memoir, a beautiful, beautiful celebrity memoir is the way to go in the future. I don't need any like top 10 tricks and tips or whatever, some guys that it's really just all about a celebrity memoir. It brings to mind you talking about that Lala one. I don't think I've ever mentioned this before, but that really sad moment in Vanderpump Rules where Randall got that a cake. Do you remember? And he brought it in and he said,
Oh, yeah.
here's to a big bestseller. And then he had to wipe off big bestseller and it said, congrats on book. So
we should be coming up on that. at some point, right?
We're,
Soon
we're
on
coming up on
Patreon.
so many moments that I think we both regard the season 1 through 5 era to be the holy grail of all reality television. But we are going to come up on so many iconic moments in 7, 8, and 9 that I think our hair is going to be blown back off our head for the rest
Yeah.
of our recap series.
I just got a clip of Jax that I think should be coming up very soon for us, where he's like, I can't believe I'm the first guy to get married in the group, thanks to Tom and Katie not getting their marriage license, Ariana agreeing to be Sandoval's roommate for the rest of her life, and I forget what the last one was, but everyone was like, I fear that he ate without one. Like,
Really?
everyone was like, yeah, everyone was like, damn, like that was funny.
They gave him credit that he ate a little bit.
He left no crumbs.
I haven't seen anyone admit that Jax ate and left no crumbs in probably about a few months since
I know,
this
I
Valley
was
started.
shocked. I feel sometimes that I'm like, you know, that Werner Herzog quote that we love where he goes, the poet must not avert his eyes or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
you have to see it all. That's how I justify being on TikTok for like 3 hours a
Of
day.
course.
So I'm like rooting for sentiment, seeing what the people are saying.
I am purposely disobeying Werner's golden rule. I actively try not to participate in any cultural events that are going on because I don't want to know more. Werner, excuse me, I think you disobeyed your golden rule in Grizzly Man when you wouldn't let the audio be released of Timothy Treadwell and his wife's last harrowing moments against those bears. You said, delete this now. It's too despicable for anyone to ever hear. What the hell was his golden poetic rule
He's
then?
the poet.
Oh,
He's like,
so
I'll watch it and I will make the art.
I'll never forget when he was listening to that audio. He was like, "Oh my God, this sucks."
You must never. That's me about the Lala book. I'm like,
Yeah.
you must never open this.
That's a good meme. That's a good meme. If someone was good, take that scene from Grizzly Man, that 5-second clip, and have the start of Lala saying, "Chapter 1, I am born," and then he goes, "No one should ever listen to this." That's not a meme that would probably do
works.
well, but
It works.
Okay, so anything else to say about Scheana's? Regardless of how people feel about this divisive memoir, it's great, right? Great news for Scheana, right? And she earned it. She earned this thing.
Finally a win for fucking once.
It's a fucking win. It makes Masked Singer, that asterisk in her, that little L in her career, that is completely wiped away. Best-selling author. People will need to wait another year or so to have Scheana have a tragic fall that they can lick their lips over. But for now, Scheana got a win. Kristen, I think Kristen, I saw a little bit that she was skeptical of why the news of the infidelity was coming out now and why she would like bring Brock into it again. And the answer to that is that Scheana wanted to sell a memoir and decided to reveal a huge part of her life, not to season 11 of Vanderpump Rules when she felt like it was demoted or she didn't want to share that then. And she decided to share it with the world for her memoir, which I'm appreciative that she finally did that. It also, one last thing, it also made me really think. I read this Alex Baskin interview about the Valley as this Valley season comes to an end, and they were talking about the Valley post Jax, and it really it made me almost convinced. I don't want to give my full like this is a possibility, but it really felt like Scheana would be the one that would enter the forum in Valley season 3. She's incredibly divisive. People I think dislike her almost as much as Janet, but there is a passionate fan base there, and it also takes the clout of Jax or whatever the foundation of the original premise of the Valley with Jax gone now, and you immediately get a heavy hitter OG, and the selling point is that you're going to watch Scheana and Brock react to the infidelity.
It's the exact timing, right?
Yes, it's perfect. I mean, it almost if it doesn't happen, it is because they fear that the Scheana hate is going to override the energy that casting decision would bring. But I feel like while we were talking about Q scores earlier this week, Sheena's Q score must be vibrant and radiating and sitting in that negative zone that just provides fodder for people. And so I think Scheana is an excellent stand-in for Jax, at least for season 3. And
Yeah.
and then Schwartz is an added bonus, and then Lala, do whatever you want with Lala. But
I think Lala's in as well. I saw again, I can never tell what the hell any of them are doing. I think it was an Amazon Live. I just get all these stray videos, and I think it was an Amazon Live. And she got asked if she thinks she'll be on the new season, and she said she was like, I like she answered in a way that meant it seemed that the answer was yes, and she didn't know what she was allowed to say. But it seemed like yes.
I'm fine with that. I mean, there's enough cast members on the show that are still providing entertaining moments like Zach and stuff, to where if Lala is just a part of the ensemble, I think it would be good. And then they sort of test out their merits with each other in season 3. And then you see who prospers and thrives in that environment, and then who needs to get the boot for season 4. So I think all of them should really be on it. I mean, it's pitched as that.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be the retirement from Vanderpump Rules.
That's what she was banking on. I think she says that in the book. Like, I was planning on getting a spinoff. Like, when she was kind of talking about some of her financial plans and stuff, she was like, well, like, we're going to have that spinoff. So I also saw Kristen was on a podcast. I forget which one. And I was like, damn, she's like, everybody, I can't keep up. I say this all the time, but she was saying that, she's like, it is what it is if they're going to join, which I felt like meant yes, like that Scheana and Lala were joining, but she was like defeated. I'm like, whatever. And she goes, but she's like, some of that shit at the end of Vanderpump Rules was so fake. And she goes, not on the Valley, not in what is that Laura Dern quote? Not in the world I'm living in. She was like, not on my fucking watch.
Wow. So you won't be able to get away with fake shit if you come on to the Valley. I like that. I think that, I think it's a good idea, and I never felt more assured that that was what they were going to do, with the franchise. Alex Baskin also admitted that they're pushing the Valley a little bit. He said it's never a good time to start filming in the midst of when the reunions are airing, which is not something I ever have considered. He said the Valley was an especially long season, or longer than they prepared for, and so they're pushing it a few weeks. It's still going to be in the summer, but like late summer now. That's why the Valley hasn't picked up filming, and they're probably making last minute casting decisions. Just like we might find out that Schwartz and Lala and Scheana are full-time in the next couple of weeks potentially before they start filming.
I have to say, because I know we're talking about Miami in a bit, I saw that Alexia was on Schwartz's podcast. So I was like, let's see if there's any juice here, because we're going to talk about that. And I'm like, Schwartz does need to find another job, because that podcast is like, he needs to hire someone immediately. It has no direction whatsoever. He's in Miami on the episode, and he's just interviewing like business owners. He interviewed like a woman that owns a spa, and then he interviewed Alexia about her nail salon and asked like what services they offer. Like, he was like, I was like, what is this? Like, I was like, is this like a travel like City of Miami like ad? Like, it was so dull. I was like, I cannot believe this.
So I haven't checked in since I declared it one of the best podcasts I've ever listened to, but I was a little worried when it got to be just Bravo Celebrities, because I thought that he was branching out and going into like self-help or something. Now it seems to be a combination of the worst of both worlds, where it's Bravo Celebrities that I don't necessarily need to have an episode dedicated to them, but then also getting into the minutia of like nail salons or whatever. I think that I guess I'm a little worried about that. I don't see longevity, unfortunately, but maybe if he did really hone in on what this is supposed to be, but it seems like it's already sort of lost its way just from the last few episodes and guests I feel
like he needs a co-host or something who's an actual wellness person. If that's what he really wants it to be, then he needs someone like grounded in that space, and then he could be the like curious one. But when he's in charge, he's just like floating around, and you're like, what the fuck
I think that's
this?
A great idea. If he linked up with a very charismatic, more wellness-focused person that was more structured and stuff, then Tom Schwartz gets to indulge in what he likes, as more of the off-the-cuff, sillier person there asking like interesting questions from the layman perspective. So that's just kind of like something that maybe he needs to workshop a little bit. But yeah, when you sent me that he was interviewing Alexia and Frankie, I was like, oh my God, what has thou done wrought with this podcast?
West also has a new podcast.
I saw that too.
He's with I think she's a basketball player, his co-host.
Yeah, I didn't know. It's on me. I didn't know who the co-host was, but I mean, I was very happy to see that West had a podcast. I'm excited to listen.
It's like sports, like truly sports. So I probably won't listen, even though I love him. But
maybe I can finally learn.
Area.
Yeah, maybe I can finally learn about sports from listening to that.
Yeah, we should have him on.
Let's do it. Okay, so we talked about Scheana bestseller. We talked about the Valley, which we didn't even say we were going to talk about. There's a little, this isn't that concrete, but there's been whispers ever since that Next Gen LA. The theory of that show was announced into the universe. I think Terry was asked about it or something, and he goes, "How did you know?" And then now people are kind of throwing shit at the wall, proverbially, saying, "Look at who we could have," and it was like Mauricio and Kyle's daughters. Kelsey Grammer apparently has a daughter. And they were like Mason, and they were like, would Mason love being with one of Mauricio's daughters? And then there was other, it's kind of and then who is the other notable? The Hamlins. It's like, could you imagine? And there are a lot of Bravo celebrity babies in LA.
Pepper Pippin, what's his name? That Pippin boy.
Pepper Pippin. Yeah, Pepper Pippin. I think I know I saw Pepper Pippin on the list. Amelia Hamlin, Pepper Pippin, Mason Grammer, and then this is what they need to do. If Next Gen LA is happening, you get Pepper Pippin, you get Amelia Hamlin, you get those people that know this Bravo universe, but then you do what Next Gen NYC did, and you get some heavy hitter, just LA people that don't know anything about reality television, that they really embody and represent whatever LA means, and you counterbalance that Bravo celebrity energy with
Pepina Zasloff or someone like that, like all the studio head daughters.
Wow, I'm kind my mind is kind of reeling from knowing that Pepina Zasloff and Pepper Pippin could be. It almost kind of, you already can see the pilot episode. It's like Pepina meet Pepper.
The Pepina Pepper pilot.
Untitled Pepina Pepper Project. Unnamed Pepina. I think I just spit for the first time. I think I need to edit that out.
It should be Piper Parabo's.
Piper. It's kind of it lends itself to already the untitled Pepina Pepper what'd you say, pilot? But anyway,
project.
There's the pilot project. There's just so many Bravo celebrities. And then you got to add that authenticity. Georgia, Charlie, who else made the show? Ava, that energy is what is essential to Next Gen NYC. So please weigh out the Bravo. And I know you will. Whoever is producing Next Gen NYC, they'll do a good job here.
We were talking about earlier that on her podcast, even the former First Lady has a podcast, Michelle Obama.
That was her podcast?
Yes, she has a podcast with her brother.
Oh, I had no idea. I thought that was
Las Culturistas.
Yes, I thought it was.
Maybe they did both. But her brother was in the clip, so I think she has one with her brother.
Oh my God! Oh, I had no idea. I thought she was a guest on that. And then she said that she loves every Bravo show in the world. And then the Las Culturistas minds were blown. And she goes, I even watched that Next Gen Babies show. And then her brother goes, there's a show dedicated to a bunch of babies running around. And they go, no, they're Nepo babies. And I think it kind of, I almost was like, oh my God, how real is this? Because the idea of Michelle Obama providing takes on Next Gen NYC was almost too...
I'm obsessed.
Yeah.
I love it. And then my friend was like, get Malia on Next Gen LA. And I was like, that would be so perfect. Oh. She is like the cool girl of the century. I've seen her around. She's always ripping cigs. Yeah. She goes to the New Bev. I've seen her at Little Dom's. She's she would be perfect.
Yeah. I mean, it would be greenlit for 3 seasons instantly if
Yeah.
they made that casting decision up front. Yeah, so that was really awesome. It's always amazing to see Bravo's impact and influence in the world.
Yeah.
And when you find out someone is a huge Bravo head, and I did not know that Michelle Obama was. So the
I
fact that she's
remember
watching
she
Next
did
Gen.
say at one point she watched Potomac. I remember her saying that. And so I wasn't sure how deep her knowledge is. It's like when I think it was after the Super Bowl when Beyonce like 10 years ago said Gone with the Wind fabulous, and it was like
Yes.
revealed that she
Yes.
watches Housewives, and everyone was like, "Ah."
And liked Kenya.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that was sort of controversial. When Kenya first started, I was like, oh my God, Kenya is villainous. And then for the fact that Beyonce like celebrated Kenya must have been the biggest win of the century for Kenya at the
Yeah.
time.
That like brings me great peace that if I ever am in an elevator with Michelle Obama or Beyonce, that we could just talk about Housewives.
Oh, you instantly got from floor 2 to floor 6 to talk for a little bit of time. That is perfect. Well, for me, that's all the news that was fit to print. What do you do you have anything else that you wanted to talk about before we move forward to talk about
I think we are good to talk about what, at least for Orange County, I hate to keep harping on it, but I have to say this was like real bottom of the barrel shit, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yes, you warned me,
I
and
hope I didn't tinge your experience.
you didn't at all. I knew exactly as we watched OC, as I watched OC, when you started to lose faith, and by the end of the episode, I completely concurred with you in every way. I thought it was remarkably bad.
Yeah.
It was like last week was an anomaly. And I had fun getting wrapped up in Heather's party and that the recording shit was kind of more elevated. And then it was like, hey, wait. OC got good for a second. Let's go back to when it was dog shit in episode 1 and episode 2 and make it even worse. And the real problem with this episode was after the party ends, 15 minutes of the party, I've never seen such a succession of boring filler scenes in a row in an episode. I don't think ever, to the point where it was only not saved, remarkably different by the Tamara and Jin fight, which was not good because it was boring and we don't care what they're fighting about. So overall, structurally, everything you could imagine was bad about it. I mean, we were sitting through veneers, selling clothes on eBay, the house selling shit, and it was just back to back to back. The worst 30 minutes of an episode that I've seen in years.
I know. I was like, because I usually like when I take my notes, I like bold the like scene and then do like bullets underneath. And if it's like juicy or anything considerable, it'll be pretty long. And I started looking at my notes and I was like, I have like 5 2-line notes in a row where I was just like, yeah, that's what they did.
Yeah, I know. And I saw it. I got the notes in the mail and I said, oh my God, this must have been bad. Yeah. Do you agree with me that it was well? Sorry. And in addition to the succession of boring scenes, we also got a resurgence of blogger shit.
Yeah.
And this time, the blogger shit was even less interesting than the nanny shit because they couldn't even talk about what the blogger gate rumor was.
Yeah.
So now we're getting blogger shit without even the crux of what we're supposed to be mad about that Katie told the blogger. I mean, it was, oh my God, I could not believe that they wanted to go back to the well on that stuff. So really, you couldn't get worse than some of the decisions they made here on this episode.
Yeah, I'm concerned that there will be no new topic. I mean, it's still early in the season, but I am worried.
I'm worried too. I'm really worried. I think that OC has been, for the last 2 seasons we've been covering, has been notably decent, not worth pausing and talking about a full restructuring. And then finally they've been cruising for too long and we just hit the time where they need to figure things out because the trajectory is not looking good. And in the preview for the season or next week, whatever the hell it was, even them going to New Orleans, I didn't see one thing that I was interested in that they said at all.
Yeah, they didn't. So I'm shocked that it looks like they will be in New Orleans next week. Like they didn't talk about it yet on this episode. So there's going to be a pitch and a trip next week.
What is it even going to be? Jen hey, Tamra, I've been planning to go to New Orleans with Ryan for a really long time.
Yeah,
Can we go
Bachelorette,
tomorrow?
maybe?
Can-
I don't know. But they didn't tease, we know that Tamra leaves that trip, but they didn't tease anything like that. So I'm like, is that not even going to be like a blow up?
I bet I'm predicting that they resolve that within a week, and a week off from filming for Tamra didn't mean anything in the final edit. So they're like, we're not going to explain this thing that we don't have footage of to account for. Possibly. I mean, I could imagine them going both ways. I could imagine them putting a card up that says Tamra left this, and then she picks back up. But also, I could imagine that just the way filming worked, Tamra picked back up and maybe missed like one episode or one scene, and they don't want to account for it. And given the dregs of what we're dealing with, that would have been much more interesting than anything we're dealing with. A cast member like quitting,
Right.
you know, for a month or so.
Yeah. So it's pretty brutal. I guess we could just do like high level because for the most part, it's like Gina has an open house. Jen and Ryan get veneers on their lower teeth.
Yeah, well, yeah, we kind of skipped over this the first time they got them on their upper teeth, but they said their upper teeth veneers are so good that they want the same kind of treatment on their bottom. And these scenes are about Tamra and Jen having a conversation again. And this is facilitated by the fact that Jen heard from Heather that Tamra is going through a rough time. So Jen is the one coming hat in hand to Tamra to talk to her. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
Jen, no. Of all the things Tamra did to you, you're going back to Tamra and saying, I want to forgive you so bad. And Tamra still treats her like shit. She doesn't care. She
Yeah.
doesn't apologize. She equivocates. She says, you've done all this shit to me too. I'm like, why would that ever be the move that Jen would make to try to rectify things? And so all of the scenes are kind of about this head to head that is not very consequential. At all.
Yeah.
I gotta say before, you know, the trip or the party sort of ends, I gotta say Tamra commits. It doesn't get a lot of attention, but Tamra's Joe thing was as big of a flop as what Gertie did in Miami, except they don't give it the attention. It created no waves. It didn't do anything. It wasn't funny. It wasn't fun. Joe does not utter one word that is captured on camera. Gretchen and Slade are fine with Joe and like her and are friends with her, and nothing about Tamra choosing Joe makes sense because her war is with Jen and Ryan. Her and Gretchen had patched things up, so she just brought this as a provocative guest, and it did nothing.
Yeah.
So they actually gave her grace. They gave her grace in the edit on that one. That was the fucking flop of the season already.
Yeah. If you were watching with someone who didn't know who Joe was, they would have been like, she brought her friend.
She brought a friend, and that friend didn't really want to talk at the party at all. It was so deflating when Gretchen goes, we're friends, so nice try, Tamra. That meant nothing to me. And it also just doesn't make sense. Like I already said, it does not make sense to bring Joe when you have been talking about how your war is with Ryan and his litigious.
Yeah, bring his ex-wife.
Yeah, do something like that. It was just so badly planned.
Yeah, and they got there like at the end, so like all the shit was already over. But on their way in, they run into Katie, who was leaving because she was offended about all the Shannon shit, and she's like, "We gotta go," and takes her husband. And then Tamra like chases her down in the parking lot and is like, "Oh, I'm gonna get a piece of this. Like, I missed the drama. I'm gonna find her in the parking lot." And her husband is like, get away from, like, we don't want to talk to her. Get away, get away, get away.
I loved that, actually. I love that Matt has the correct read on Tamra. He's like, she doesn't give a shit about you. Tamra, oh, please, don't pretend like you care at all about Katie. It's so funny because Tamra doesn't at all care about Katie in any way. She just did exactly what you said just to get, you know, some camera time with Katie. And Matt rightfully, you know, announces her intention with that, which was kind of funny to see.
Yeah, Katie's like, you're the one that started all this shit telling Shannon that I recorded. And she's like, it's not my fault that you recorded her. Yeah. And she's like, Tamara's like, I've been nothing but nice to you. And the husband keeps being like, yeah, he's like just muttering the whole time, like, come on.
Like, we know that this is not going to be fruitful. But then to give not Tamra a win, but just to correct the record. This is all such garbage, so it doesn't even matter to correct the record. But I don't believe, Katie, that it's like, who said this thing to get it into the group? Tamra. And then everybody's like, oh, okay, let's obfuscate. Let's deflect. Let's now make sure that everyone knows that Tamra is the one that brings things in. It's like, no, I still kind of want to focus on you recording Shannon. I think that is much more interesting than the fact that Tamra brought it to the group. So I didn't like Katie's narrative of being like, Tamra is the one who has blood on her hands. Me and Jen should unite against Tamra. It's like, no. I think there's still a lot to talk about you recording your cast member in that space.
I love calling it blood on your hands for something that's like so fucking stupid.
Yeah, me too.
And then they get into it because Katie's like, you're saying you've been nice to me, but last year you called me a cunt. And I've never called you any names. And she goes, all you call is bloggers.
Oh, that's what Tamra said?
Yeah.
I should have given her a major win. Why didn't I write huge win for Tamra in my notes? All you call is bloggers. I mean, the destruction that Katie created by going to the bloggers for 4 months in the interim between seasons. Like, what the hell was she thinking? She took calls with everybody.
Seriously.
BravoBlog.com.
Kiki Monique.
She went, the only thing we got was one comment that she deleted. I don't understand why we didn't get an exclusive interview correcting the record. Like, hello.
Yeah, where's our lunch?
Like, seriously, but I just like, I think that she'll never do that again, but it's kind of like lesson learned, but the mistake you made is going to cause a nightmare for you for 2 more seasons, honestly, because of how many you taught.
I actually am entertained at how much like shit is getting piled on her, where they're like, we heard you met with Kiki Monique, and she's like, I'm friends with her. I really respect her as a journalist. And there's like a photo of them together.
Yeah. I've been listening to her for years. So of course I had lunch with her. It's like, where's Up and Adam? Like what, like definitely got a phone call at one point. Why is he not in this season at all
Virtual reality. She has like a little photo album that's like her with every single blogger of all time.
The day we create salacious clickbait that gets in any season, I don't know where it would be. That's like the end of Turtle Time. It's like game over. We accomplished the biggest feat in the world. Like, I mean,
this like shitty ass clip is going to be like on with a lower third on the 700th season of Southern Charm or something.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, no matter what, it'll be a win. But yeah, and then this party kind of fizzles out. Terry got high as hell. He's going.
His eyes were like so red.
Yeah, he's going, what's up? He's going, I smoked weed. He goes, Slade's gained a lot of weight. I've never seen Terry like this. And then it kind of, it ends. And then this is when the sequence of events, and I really don't think we need to highlight barely anything. Gina's open house was so boring. It lasts for 10 minutes, and it's just to relay the information that Jen wants to meet.
Yeah.
Jen and Ryan, you already said veneers, and that's about why Jen explains to Ryan what she wants to get out of meeting a Tamra, which makes no sense, and it's not a good move. Yeah. The Heather house, I don't watch $1 Million Listing, so the team up of Flag and Altman didn't mean anything to me. So that's a huge, I'm sure, Easter egg for.
Yeah, it felt very much like fan service of like, you get 7 minutes of what you would get on million dollar listing that's not on anymore. So like a little part of me was like, oh, like I always like having that show in the background as like not something we obviously, I don't think anyone recaps that show. Like that's not what it's for, but it's like my like, it's been on almost the entire time I've watched Bravo, and I liked always just having it to like binge when I needed it. And so it did make me like, oh, also I flagged this. I Josh flagged this that at the party, Tarek El Moussa and his wife Heather El Moussa were at the party, which they're another real estate duo. She's from Selling Sunset and he's from Flipping Out.
Oh my God, Heather, you can see she wants a piece of this LA real estate reality show market.
I mean,
more
make
than anyone
her
ever.
a fucking Orange County housewife. Like, fine, I don't care.
No, I mean, you can't do anything wrong at this point to OC. You can try anything. I mean, we need some help over here. So yeah, but I because we've called it out so much, I am getting a little tired of Heather's spinoff that she's trying to make happen. So I was not getting a lot of joy from that scene. I don't think it's very notable at all. Tamra, we've already talked about this. Tamra and her daughter. I like her scenes with her daughter. I think that they have a sweet relationship. I like their camaraderie. I like seeing Tamra in that light. Like I love seeing Sophia. Yeah. Sophia and how she's
cool.
She's really cool. Like for the OC kids that we've seen.
Next gen.
Ooh. She would be cool. She kind of has she'd be cool. She kind of has
They said she's moving to LA to do the Music Institute.
Oh my God, she has that perfect balance of a Bravo celebrity baby that we haven't seen a lot, but I think she has a lot of California credibility. So that's a
like
great
that.
casting decision. Okay, Sophia, you just got on Next Gen LA, according to me and Amy for sure. Anyway, Tamara, it's good. This is a good light to see Tamara in. I think it's very fun and sweet. Obviously, a testament to their relationship, but unfortunately, not anything to recap or talk about. Not anything that sells you on this episode. Like, hey,
Yeah.
well, that's amazing that she's helping Tamara sell her clothes.
I know. Then we get a freaking
Oh.
aerial yoga, which they've already done. They tell us and show us that. I'm like, you can't do it again.
And all it is for Shannon to get wrapped up and go fall backward and fly around in one of those hammocks again.
Whenever they have her do anything with physical feats, even if it's just like walking in a straight line, she's like, okay, Charlie Chaplin time. She's like,
last season or 2 seasons ago, once you told me that Shannon is a Chaplin-esque figure that does this on purpose, I can never escape it now. Immediately when she gets in that hammock, she starts going, whoa, I can't control this thing. She twists it up in a knot and then lets it unfurl and spinning her around endlessly. It's like, oh my God, how much more physical comedy can you provide us? And
I love that she's like drawn to that call. Like she's like, this is what I'm meant to do.
Yeah, I would love it. I would love if one of those Bravo Love Hotel people end up being sort of also a physical comedian, because that duo, I don't know who, like Charlie Chaplin, if he ever like hung out with a certain person like as a duo, but that would be so fun to see them both embody that vibe together and do a lot of physical comedy.
Yeah, you
antics.
know that David wasn't doing any fun stuff like that.
David didn't do one physical comedy bit in his entire life, I don't think.
He like never smiled.
No, he wasn't. I think I saw him give one little smile once. Like he gave one little, a little peek at a smile, but no, he was not very fun, if I remember correctly.
Not at all. Him and I not get them confused, but to me, him and Simon are like exactly the same.
I was just gonna say it, and I was like, David and Simon are the same person. Have they ever been in the same room together?
Yes.
They are the exact same ex-husband archetype. OC ex-husband
miserable
archetype. Miserable men. I remember David loved chips and salsa. I remember that. Simon, I don't know what the fuck Simon liked.
Yeah, he sucked. He was like always like telling Tamara to like cover up and like that she was too much, and he was just always pissed.
Yeah. Oh my God. Well, someday we need to do the official list of the 10 most vibrant house husbands, or 10 most wonderful
top and bottom.
And then the 10 worst you've ever seen in your life. Evil, chaotic, evil house husbands. That's the next evergreen someday. Because it's a wide ranging spectrum of people that we could get on there. And maybe it's not even husbands, it's boyfriends, significant others. Then we really get to go. What was the point of this aerial yoga except to show Shannon spinning? Gretchen talking about Tamara?
Yeah. They're saying, I guess we need that angle. Maybe that's to come. They're saying maybe Tamara will surprise you, Gretchen. Give her a chance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's this like burgeoning Tamara redemption arc that they're trying to make happen, which I don't think, besides Tamara being in a grieving state right now, she's not really doing anything geared towards that at all. Bringing Joe was obviously a sign that she's not trying to make amends with everyone. I think at this point in the episode, everyone at Bravo, producers, executive producers, Andy, when he got the dailies, was like, okay, something's wrong here. Mm-hmm. Why did you just put 4 scenes back to back where nothing happens? And why did you just do aerial yoga again 4 years later after you've already done it? Then, okay, Katie, Heather, Gina go out. This is where I got a little pissed, because you'd think that there'd be some spark of something here. Yeah. But in reality, Heather accuses Katie, again, a retread of now, we've already talked about this, going to another blogger, this time Kiki Monique, sitting down for a long lunch. And Heather says, and then Kiki at some point told someone, or somehow it got on Tamara's radar, that Katie whispered in Kiki's ear. She goes, will you put a story in the news for me that's so evil I have to whisper it in your ear? And Kiki goes, I don't know. That would betray journalistic ethics. Let me think about it. And then Katie says at this table when the accusation comes to light, she goes, this is complete fake. shit, this never happened at all. But they have the photo, and she does admit that this Kiki Monique lunch happened.
And apparently there's like a flashback to an unused scene where Tamara goes, what it was so bad that I won't even repeat it.
It's got to be really bad for Tamara not
like,
to repeat it.
I feel like she's scared of getting sued at this point, but this is a non sequitur, but maybe good for a future meme. But have you seen the movie 3 Days of the Condor?
Shit, no, I'm not a huge Robert Redford guy, but I've heard it's good, but I've never seen it.
It's fun.
Okay.
And spoiler.
I've been accused of spoiling a bunch of shit. Someone said a really mean comment. 60 seconds ahead for a 3 Days of Condor spoiler.
So basically, he's in the CIA, and the CIA has turned on this one department, is taking them out, and so he's on the run from the government, despite being employed by them. And so the whole movie, he's like on the lam. And at the very end, he like can't trust anyone because they keep trying to lure him back in to be like, no, we're cool, like we'll help you. And he's like, fuck you. And so at the end of the movie, he like does a walk and talk in public with one of them, and they're obviously still trying to fuck him over. And he's like, come with me this way. And he walks them over, and he's like, they've already got the info. And he points up, and it's the New York Times. And he's like, the guy's like, what have you done? And he's like, it's done. It's over. They have it. And then he goes, how do you know they're going to print it? And he goes, they'll print it.
Whoa. And it ends like that?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, that's Kiki Monique. They're like, she has the info.
Oh my God. Now it's up to her to print it if she can. Wow, that's amazing. Well, who would have ever thought how perfectly 3 Days of Condor syncs up with season 19 of Real Housewives of Orange County? I love that so much. Well, I don't know I don't know how to feel about this, because a part of me is like, just because Katie has done so much blogger shit in the past, it doesn't mean that I'm willing to allow that she does everything in the blogger universe. Like, I don't know if I believe that Katie whispered to Kiki Monique, please plant this story for me. You've got to say it on the radio show, please. But then also, why would I defend Katie when I think that there's like 6 or 7 things that she has done that she's not fully truthful about? Yeah. I think that maybe Tamara is inflating how salacious this possibly is, or getting some details purposely wrong, and then everyone wants to paint Katie with the same brush because she's already been accused of it in the past. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like, I don't know. She claims that this is bullshit. She claims that she hung out with Kiki Monique and that none of the other women came up.
Well, it's like, that's all you'd be talking
about. I'm like, what do you mean?
Oh, if you and I got to go to lunch with Katie Janelli, imagine the stories we would tell. So what was that you were saying about Tamra? And then you're like, you have run out. My iPhone would be like, you have stopped recording now. And I'd be like, oh shit, sorry, hold on. Can you repeat that for 1 second? No, like, of course, probably they talked about that. But it's just all of these instances, like we've already said, it's just not good for Katie to be. I'm saying this as as people who comment on Bravo. It's not good to engage with us. Not like you were even on par at all with the level, the caliber that they've already indulged with.
She was one of your fellow talking heads in that Nightline Notes on a Scandal, right?
Yes. Yes. So in a way, yeah. I mean,
you are peers.
I am. Yeah, in a way, you could say, quite possibly. No, but I just think, I just think that, like we already said, and I think Heather, you sent me this amazing Heather McDonald TikTok that sort of summarized exactly what we've been trying to articulate, which is that it used to be about real shit. We used to watch New York City, and it would be about like them living out their lives, and Ramona would make some faux pas on camera, and then they would deal with the fallout of that. And now it's gotten so in the weeds with blogger shit that she says it's intolerable. That's basically the exact same argument I have for the last 6 weeks of watching this, and this is the worst example of it so far, I would say.
Yeah, I was just thinking that if I showed someone who hadn't been watching or had never watched, and I showed them this as the first example, they'd be like, this sucks. This is so dumb. And it's like the worst example of what people think these shows are.
Yes.
Whereas like we were saying, Next Gen has the thing that Housewives used to have, where it was like walk of life. Like the whole point of that the show started as like the like whole lifestyles of the rich and the famous. Like OC Housewives was almost called like behind the gates. Like the whole point was like, look at these people living in a way you couldn't imagine. And I'm not saying that it needs to strictly be about wealth or whatever, but like it was at least about like a walk of life. And now it's like about living as like rats in a cage doing the thing that they think they're supposed to do.
Totally. I completely agree. And a part of it is that I just think that the personal lives of some of these cast members are not engaging enough to where they have to sort of go to this bottom rung of entertainment and just create salacious stories about each other. And they're scraping the bottom of the barrel and using bloggers as sort of fodder. But like in the early era of Beverly Hills, Lisa Vanderpump was just so engaging on her own and so fun that when she dipped into a fight with someone, it was like, oh my God, that's great. But I also just love watching the 75% of the show that is just Lisa Vanderpump going about her life. Yeah. And I think we've lost a little bit of the cast members just being able to bring their true life and their walk through life in a way that is as entertaining as also this other conflict that just springs up naturally.
There has never been a scene at Villa Rosa that's been long enough for me. No, like packing for a trip with Rocio, her having tea with Ken on the patio, her getting the swing for her birthday, her having the swans being sick, the little ponies. Like, I'm like, I will live here forever.
Those just pop, everything you just said just went pop. Oh, I see it. I see it. I see it. Ken, Lisa going, push me, Ken, push me. And Ken going, oh, okay, I will, my darling. Yeah, like those are perfect. And Lisa it's hard to compare anyone to Lisa Vanderpump, top 10 for all time. But I think that we've lost just in engaging people that are just engaging and have merit with everything they do in life. And OC is kind of resorted now to just needing desperation for conflict.
I know. I think about it all the time, and I'm sure I've said it before, but like, if you think about how fucking amazing it is that they found a beautiful dynasty-looking woman named Lisa Vanderpump, who is richer than anyone, who owns restaurants, who like knows celebrities. It's like the greatest find of all time. Yeah. And then even someone like Erica Jane, you're like, you found one of the highest powered lawyers in all of LA who has a hot wife who is secretly a sexy pop star. Like, what the fuck?
I know. No, the casting wins of the century. And it actually makes me think that there probably is this list, like Andy kind of teases, like there is probably this list of 50 people that are just on the cusp of joining, and they need something in their life to make them, to sway them to that decision. But I bet they do have these heavy hitters that are like waiting in the wings, these huge successes that we will get someday. It's just a matter of time for whenever they want to make reality television
whenever
a part of
they get divorced or desperate.
Totally. I think so. Okay, so this is we already said this. We declare this shit. This is not engaging at all, and I do not care really whether it's true or not. And the fact that we don't even know what Katie potentially said or was trying to spread makes this just pure garbage and not entertaining to recap in any way. So I hope it just kind of dies on the vine, because we couldn't deal with a full season of Bloggergate like this for Katie.
No, it would be horrible. The only other scene before the Jen and Tamra showdown is Katie telling Matt about the Kiki thing, and then they talk about how all of her kids will finally be in one house and that her daughter is going to college.
I was going to say, this is kind of mean, but could you imagine getting the call sheet? You're on the crew and you get the call sheet and it's like, show up to Katie's house at 7 p.m. for a scene. Like, that's got to be like one of the most, I mean, it was just such a boring, it was just such a boring scene. I could not believe that they picked up cameras to get whatever that conversation. I mean, no offense, but it was just like, it's kind of indicative of the overall episode that's even a scene that made it into the final cut. I mean, there was really nothing interesting. When Katie says about this blogger shit, Matt yawns. He yawns in the edit. He does a big cartoonish yawn, which I'm like, yeah, that's how everyone feels watching this.
I kind of feel like, I mean, he didn't really have a choice because they were chased after, but I feel like he wants a little bit of a husband orange.
Yeah, I'd squeeze a little juice out on his hands. I think he's got a little merit there. I love that he's got Tamra's number. I always love, a huge part for me is when the facade gets broken and someone just reveals how everyone truly feels about someone. And it's very obvious on the cast that no one trusts Tamra and they know she's capable of ruining their reputation at any moment. So I love to see the mask fall, or the truth just spew from Matt's mouth, like, Tamra sucks, don't ever talk to her again. So that was a huge moment. But I also see what you're saying, where maybe he, likes being in it, a little bit more than you'd imagine.
Yeah. At one point, Heather is like, tell him to mind his business. Tell him to not get involved. It was like about around the Kiki conversation. Heather's like, you should tell him to stand back. And I was like, oh, shoot, that's kind of like rude. Considering her husband's like so involved.
Yeah. Totally. Okay. Last scene. I don't think it's really worth going through, but I have to give a huge shout out to Rose Canyon Mexican Cantina. I've seen Javier's on the OC. I've seen Mozambique. I've seen The Deck. Love all these places, but Rose Canyon, this place looked beautiful. Trees everywhere. Did you see the margaritas that they were serving?
I looked it up. It's like over in that like deep area, like above Coda, like de Casa, which I always think is interesting because I feel like when the show first started, it was that like deep Orange County, and then as time went on, it was more like the beach, like riches,
Newport, Dana Point. I would love to do a OC tour and hit those 6 spots maybe in 2 days. I gotta go to Rose Canyon, gotta go to Mozambique. So wonderful atmosphere for this scene, but I
think it's the one thing they agree on. They sit down and they go, I'm obsessed.
Yeah, they go, this is beautiful. Look at the trees around us and look how good the margaritas are. Immediately, Jen goes, what the hell happened to us, Tamra? And Tamra goes, it's been horrible since, I don't know when, but Ryan called Eddie a baby bitch, so your hands aren't clean. You can't take what I dish. This is going to be awful forever. And I was just like, oh, God, this sucks. The worst start to a conversation ever. Tamra has no intention of letting her guard down. She's completely defensive. Jen is trying different tactics to get Tamra to admit, like, try to parse this horrible antagonistic conversation. And Tamra has heard everything that Jen has said behind the scenes because Heather is now whispering in Tamra's ear. And so it's just fruitless conversation completely. 10 minutes of just back and forth, not getting anywhere. And it's a scene that we didn't even need to happen because I don't know why the hell Jen is apologizing to Tamra anyway.
Yeah, it ends with no resolution. In her confessional, Tamra thinks she ate by bringing up that there was another cheating scandal where she's like, Jen hooked up with some other guy at a yoga studio. And I'm like, I don't fucking care.
Yeah. And I'm like, I don't care. And I also just don't believe
I hope she
anymore.
did.
I hope she did too. That would be fun. Did she? She cheated on Ryan at the start of their relationship. That's awesome. They both cheated on each other. I don't really care. And also just, no offense to Tamra, but I don't believe anything she ever says, ever. Yeah. I think she has the worst track record in history for lying versus telling the truth. So I don't believe her. They both are accusing each other of being stalkers to each other or being whatever psycho stalkers of each other. It's like, you wore my hair out of a hair salon. It's like, no, I didn't. I put your hair on as a joke, and I wore it for one day.
I'm the one
and
that told you.
Yeah, and I'm the one who told you that I wore your hair for a day around town. And it's just like, I don't know. If I was banging the gavel, I would say that Tamra seems threatened by Jen and has made Jen her punching bag for the entire 3 seasons. Jen thought that Tamra was a friend. And then when they got in this arena, she was like, what the fuck is wrong with Tamra? Oh my God, she's horrible to me. Yeah. So I would accuse Tamra of being more jealous of Jen than Jen of Tamra at this point.
It looks like next week there's going to be more about what Gina deems the former fatty photo.
I cannot believe that is that like stray moment from episode 2 is gonna like pop back up randomly next week.
I know. I mean, she should face the wrath of that. It's so fucked up.
Of course, it was just kind of, I mean, for me, it's just like a part of Tamra's overall. Just she does that shit all the time. Yeah. But it is funny that everything else gets talked about and scrutinized, and then this doesn't, and now it's like being brought back by Gina or whatever. Yeah. I never know I like Gina a lot, but I never know what the hell she's doing. No. She's like, I love Katie, but I hate her so much. It's like, I think you don't like Katie at all, but you want to be close to her so that you are close to the action and you can remain allies with both sides. But you're using her as a punching bag, just like Tamara uses Jen as a punching bag. And I'm kind of like tired of it. You just make your declaration of whether or not you trust Katie and you like her or not. But anyway, it's just like I'm kind of tired of the overall dynamics of this cast and everything that they know about each other and do with each other. I think 3 new cast members need to pop in there and fight for their lives.
Seriously, they need to pull a Phaedra audible and like get someone random in. I mean, I guess that's what they thought they were doing with Gretchen, but
well, I could have told them that Gretchen and Alexis Bellino were not the heavy hitters from the past. That the fans,
Bellino.
Oh my God! Pop in on Jim Bellino's Empire in Palm Springs, which I follow him on TikTok, and I get to see. Yeah, no, they were always overrated. Alexis Bellino and Gretchen, and people. It's kind of like, what's it called when you clamor for something and then you get the result and you're like, oh, I didn't really want this. There's a perfect phrase for that I can't remember. But Gretchen and Alexis Bellino are exactly that. It's like, be careful what you wish for, but not really. Right. Okay, enough about this. Next up, I liked this episode of Miami, but it doesn't... Okay, sorry. Let's properly transition. We're an hour in. We are going to talk about the high-level moments of the Real Housewives of Miami. This episode was called Dueling Yachts.
Yeah.
It is, to me... Overall, it was a much better episode, a much more fun episode, kind of like an alternate reality where even if you're arguing about garbage, there is a world where it can be fun. There's a world where the environment comes to play and the atmosphere and what you're bringing to the table aesthetically really helps. And there was a lot of better versions of a lot of cliche things I've seen in this episode, especially when they get to the dinner where you're like, oh God, they're going to rehash this shit again. And I actually thought it was a much more engaging conversation than I originally would have thought when like Lisa plays that game to sort of like bring the conversation up. And then overall, I liked the dueling yachts thing. Like if you were watching a show and you had no idea what was going on and the premise was that 2 people are going to be on 2 yachts and they're going to combine them and jump back and forth from yachts, that is only a thing that Real Housewives or Succession would deliver. So just
it reminded me of the Scary Island Hooters yacht when they were like yacht hopping. And also I know you're an Adriana lover and she really got to shine on this one.
Adriana is so amazing where even if she's saying wrinkled knees, you've got bony wrinkled knees. I don't know what it is. I just give Adriana all the credit in the world. I'm like, that's the funniest thing I've ever heard. Keep screaming at Marisol from this other yacht about her wrinkled knees. So I think the cast is just much funnier or I just really enjoy them even though they're going through a down period with what they're actually talking about. It was just really fun for me to watch Lisa, Larsa, Adriana, and then we have to kind of suffer through what Julia and Gertie are going through in a way. How did you feel? Where did this sit on your vector of spectrum of entertainment?
Yeah, I did like the yacht premise. I thought that was funny. I feel like I don't know why. I don't know if it's because my history with the show isn't as deep as the others. Also, sorry, they're doing construction in my building, so if you hear that,
I think it's okay. I don't think anybody has to pay attention to what we're saying right now.
Okay. And I don't know if it's because when I binged it and I really liked it, like I watched it when it was first on at the very beginning in 2011 or whatever. And then I binged it again like a couple months ago and then binged the new seasons, but I watched it more passively. And I don't know if I feel like it works better as a more passive view.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's just because that's how I watched it and my relationship with it, or I kind of feel like that's how most people, the fact that it was only on Peacock for a long time makes me feel like there's something it's a little more about like the sights and sounds than like the drama is never that deep.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I think that I agree with you completely. And I agree that when you and I are watching Miami with a fine-toothed comb, I mean, doing all the research that Turtle Time brings, I mean, hours of research, it is interesting to now really focus on it, because it's like, wait, I don't know if this is truly working in every way, and if this cast is a little tired. I do think they have the ability to get to the forefront and be a number one franchise. It's just that I think that you and I are kind of hitting them at a time when they've gotten to their OC level
Right.
with their cast, and we need a huge shakeup here, because I believe that they have it in them. They're working with a lot of stuff. I mean, the Marcus Jordan stuff with Larsa. We know that Lisa Hochstein had a huge fallout with her husband. Like, they've had the big weight of huge scandals to buoy them. It's just, I think that we're in a nadir now, and it's even more pronounced by the fact that we're really in there. But this, I don't know. I mean, but all that to say, though, is that I actually had 10 times more fun watching this episode of Miami than I did OC. So on that playing field, Miami beat, I don't want to say beat the shit out of, that's a horrible thing to say, was just so much more fun and engaging to me. So, I mean, I don't know, like, it had much more merit to me watching that at all. Well, so do you want to just quickly, I mean, there's such an easy, skippable way to do this. Julia is still upset with Gertie, but it's kind of funny that the way they treated that text message thing, they didn't have the energy to pretend like it was so scandalous. So there's no like edit, like, after this night the cast huddled in a bunker together and cried for 2 days. This was so horrible. It's almost like everyone has to remember and remind themselves that that was bad, and no one has the same energy that they had that night when they were like storming out. And then what was funny is at the end, I'll just skip forward because we're gonna like really just make this quick to recap. No one even knows what the hell Gertie was trying to say with those text messages. They didn't read them.
TLDR.
The biggest TLDR in Bravo history. Larsa goes, I know these people and I don't even care. I can't even read them when they're in front of me and I'm being paid to read them right now.
I mean, when I saw, like, I think Queens of Bravo maybe like posted the screenshots or whatever, and I started to read them, and I was like, okay, so it's about like a seat at the table, and I was like, I cannot concern myself with this. I do not care.
She already said what it was. It was she was really trying to tell the world that she wasn't begging to be on this beautiful yacht trip, that Julia was there to say, I really want you there. And it's like, no one is debating this.
Yeah.
No one. I mean, when I say no one cares, 7 people care. I mean, it's so unremarkable that the fact that the cast members of this show can't even engage in it was, to me, funny to watch Larsa and Lisa and Kiki read it firsthand and be like, I don't know. This sucks. I don't care. You know, that's how the audience feels completely.
I do think it's a little much, though, the way that they're all saying it was like immoral for her to use her event, or like, and Marisol brought up again that she thought it was like Carrie with the pig's blood. I'm like, it's really not that deep.
No, it's overblown in every way. It's overblown on Gertie's end, and the reaction is overblown. That's why they can't even pretend like it was this huge Bravo scandal in this episode. They're kind of just like, yeah, that sucked. We all hated that. I loved when Adriana clarified at the end. She goes, Julia, those text messages, I don't really give a fuck about that. You pouring water on Gertie is much more horrible and degrading than anything Gertie will ever do. And Julia is kind of getting away. You know, you could say this is probably a Queens of Bravo approved narrative. Julia is getting away with it in a way because she did a despicable act. And Gertie now got into the ring. It's one of those classic, like, you're playing dirty too. I don't think what Gertie did was at all the equivalent of what Julia did. But now Julia gets to have a little bit to hang on to, and even gets to try to pivot Adriana to defend her in this moment. And Adriana, that's when she says emphatically, Julia, what you did was much worse, which I think was great to be reminded of.
Yeah. Julia was on Watch What Happens this week, and I love Andy acted like he wasn't the one asking the question, but he goes, the audience wants to know about Martina's surrogacy comments, and she's like, is that a question for me? And he's like, yeah. And she was like, we share a bed, but we do not share the same views. And I was like, Andy was like, you know, he was like, I mean, he didn't really make her eat it. He was like, yeah, you're not in charge of her Twitter. Like, I'm not going to like put you on blast for something she said. But also Isaac Mizrahi was the other guest. And he said that he, at one point, many, many years ago, made out with Kevin Spacey. And Julia goes, he was at our wedding.
Wow, that's so funny. As a casual aside that you didn't need to bring up, you bring it up yourself.
I was like, do you know what his deal is? Like,
that's really funny. Julia also, she did give another emphatic apology. I mean, they can try to play with this all they want on Bravo and pretend like what Gertie did is, the cast members can pretend like Gertie did something salacious, but Julia knows. She knows with all of her heart, and she tried to apologize again deeply. She goes, Gertie, when you watch that, I know that's going to hurt you again. And I just have to say, I cannot wait to the reunion because I'm going to apologize to you immediately to your face. So Julia knows. There's no question. Yeah. Like, there's no question anymore. And I was glad to see Julia apologize and that she hasn't tried to get out of it morally by saying Gertie engaged in that kind of behavior too. Yeah. Did you enjoy Alexia and Frankie? Do you want to talk about anything? Alexia, Frankie, and Peter. We haven't seen Peter in a while.
Yeah.
So it was kind of good to check back in with Peter. I have to say, as someone who thought Peter was a monster, he seems to have grown up a lot. Yeah. He didn't do one thing that I thought was horrible.
Right.
And he was kind of very sweet to his brother. They have such a great dynamic. Yeah. It's the sweetest thing I've ever seen.
They reveal that Frankie has a new issue, diverticulitis, and so he was hospitalized for a while, and Alexia and Peter were like freaking out because any sight of him in the hospital brings them right back to his accident, and like they are so traumatized by that, which will always be extremely compelling territory,
and Frankie, being there is just so amazing. It's like the biggest win for them, obviously, and then just for us that this story has a beautiful ending. I know it's still like hard, but the fact that Frankie survived and they're all working with him and they love him and we get to see Frankie in this light, it's just like it's a heartwarming story every time I see them. And then that kind of brings me back to that point about the balance of personal life and conflict. I would actually say that Alexia, I think I've said this before, Alexia's personal life with Todd and her boys and everything that she's gone through is like a 10 out of 10. I could watch her family dynamics all the time. It's when she wades into conflict. She's one of the worst handlers of conflict I've ever seen in my life. Everything she gets conflict-wise turns to shit. It's a 2 out of 10. Her versus Stephanie, I'm like, oh my God, Stephanie is ethering you by waving at you. It's incredible that you have been able to do so good and prosper in this environment when you can't handle conflict at all. But then on the other end, I love everything she does in her personal life, and I've loved it since season 1.
I feel like they used to do that a lot more, like Leah Black at home with her weird little boy and like her
wonderful
husband.
Little boy.
What's he doing now?
That little boy was one of the most, I mean, don't get me started if he committed some felony when he was 18. He's one of the best boys I've ever seen on Bravo. What was his party where everybody had to dress up like 1920s Chaplin boys? 1920s gangsters with mustaches and cigars? That was the coolest Bravo party I've ever. What was it really? It was like gang, like mafia.
Mafia, like
1920s. It was 1920s Mafia boys. I love that boy. I'm glad you brought it up. Remember what you were saying, but when Anna called that boy weird, when she said, "You're weird little boy," that's the meanest thing that anybody has ever said in Bravo history. I wanted to cry. Being that family and that boy seeing that possibly on camera and being called weird for being one of the coolest boys I've ever seen in my life.
I think I just said that myself, but he's the epitome of someone who's an only child with old parents. Like his room was like looked like a library. It had like a handmade ship in it. Like he was just so like pampered and just like so.
I think you're totally right. I think that it says more about me that I find that to be a very remarkable, fun child and those decisions that he was making. But you're right. I think that the consensus was that he was possibly a little an outlier.
Sadly, his papa just passed last week. I don't think we talked about it.
Yeah, I know. No, oh yeah, we didn't.
I liked the headlines depending what website it was. It would be like iconic defense attorney Roy Black, and then it would be like Epstein defense attorney, like found dead.
I saw that. I saw that. Condolences to Leah Black. I mean, right? I mean, I didn't see very much of him on,
I mean,
Miami.
he was not young.
No. He was older, but so you were saying that it used to be more about the personal lives, and they wouldn't have to film and generate conflict in the earlier era of Miami, and it's kind of gone away from that.
I really liked actually the Anna's divorce stuff where she was like best friends with her soon-to-be ex-husband, and she was crying throughout them figuring out. They were both lawyers who were divorcing each other, and they were sad about it, but they had been separated for many, like there was like fun little stuff like that. But then they're trying to do that, I feel like, with Kiki now, but like showing her kids more, showing the stuff with her parents more. And I don't know why. I'm like, maybe it's because the show it's always kind of fleeting.
Yes.
That it's less easy to grab onto.
I think you're totally right. I mean, I definitely remember Anna's scenes, and I loved all of her personal life stuff more. And then I feel like by the reunion, she knew that she was fighting for that spot to not get fired, so she went full demonic on everyone. Like I've never seen a reunion performance like that where I was like, oh, this is awful completely, because you're just trying to stay on this show with everything in you. Okay, so we talked about this, but the scene is sweet with Alexia and Frankie. Frankie at one point when they're crying over him, he goes, "No more." He goes, "Relax." He goes, "Stop. No more crying." And it's really sweet. I just love that they are bonding over Frankie right there, and they have this story to tell, and then they still get to be with Frankie, in the room. It's like it's beautiful to me. Then now we're in the yacht world, and I think we can kind of just pop through.
We're skipping over. I don't think we need to talk about it, but Nicole does make a cameo, which they FaceTime Stephanie and make it clear that Stephanie used to date Nicole's husband. And then there's a moment where Gertie's like, "How do we get you back in the group?" And she goes like TBD, as if like she wants to come back. So anyways, that happens, but it's not too consequential.
That implies that she like left the show, right? Which I don't think that's.
I mean, she was one of the ones where I was like, I don't know. I almost did believe her when she said that like her postpartum was why she left.
All right. Yeah, I always thought Dr. Nicole was on the cusp, and so when they made that decision, I was like, oh, that makes sense to me. But maybe,
I always thought that Julia is on the cusp. But
Julia is oh boy, Julia is on the cusp now. You better believe they're talking about Julia's future right now.
Well, maybe now that Martina's saying all this fucked up shit on Twitter, that Andy's like, she's the only reason you're here. Bye.
I would give it about. I would, if I was betting.
The countdown's on.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you could just say, you could blame it on what she did with the water with Gertie, and I would say, oh yeah, that's that. So I would say there's a 70% chance. I would say there's a 70% chance that Gertie and Julia don't come back.
Yeah, every J.K. Rowling retweet puts her mojito at risk.
Oh my God. She's like, stop. She goes, Martina, stop retweeting.
Stop it.
And then Dr. Nicole does say one thing about Julia, which I think is true, and it's representative of Miami as a whole. Dr. Nicole says, Julia is like that. Well, this is mean. This is her words. Julia is like that person that had no friends that then gets a group of friends, and then the cool girls see that she's got friends and they find some unique spirit to her. So then she leaves her friends in the dust and goes to the cool girls. And I was like, that kind of embodied, I mean, I don't know about the high school aspect of that, but it is true to me. I'm like, why do you like Marisol and Alexia and you're foregoing your friendship with Adriana? Why are Alexia and Marisol considered the cool people on this cast? I mean, Alexia, I've said this before, they are the oddest mojito center holders I've ever seen in my life. It is like a warped view of the reality of the situation. I will never understand the fervor for those two as a duo. They're the least iconic duo in any franchise of any center holders I've ever seen. So why Julia would sacrifice her relationships with everyone else to get in that duo is astounding.
And that's what Adriana is spouting from yacht to yacht later. She's like, you just want to be the cool girls.
She goes, wrinkly knees over there. She goes, you don't realize that they're not actually cool. And it's like, well, Adriana, I mean, to be honest, as someone who loves you, you don't look too cool just screaming from a yacht where you have no friends
to the
and
staff.
You're and you're drunk. There's a lot of little stuff here. My favorite, just so that we remark on it, Stephanie. I am divided on Stephanie. She's doing a very good job of showing her personal life, and she's kind of she's breaking the rule that we're saying Miami adheres to by showing a fun life and giving us the tours and everything. And she is actually greenlighting her second season because, like I already said, she is really tormenting Alexia, and she's doing nothing. She goes, I don't know what she says, where Alexia says, "You bark, bark, bark like a Chihuahua, and I'm a Rottweiler." And Stephanie goes, "Noted, okay, you're a Rottweiler, that's great." And then later in the episode, she calls Alexia a Rottweiler. She goes, "How's the Rottweiler doing?" And Alexia goes, "You can never say that about me again. I call myself Rottweiler, but you saying it is horrible." And I'm like, and the fact that Stephanie is the one who is bringing up the Todd thing constantly, which is something that I want talked about more. I just love how easily it is to rattle Alexia, because I don't think that she's ever had to have a head-to-head with another cast member, because their alliance with Marisol is so strong that she's never had to fight with anyone before. And you can tell that she completely cannot take any claims to her mojito like Stephanie is doing.
Yeah, and Stephanie already has a tenured entitlement where she's like,
Yes.
"I'm actually leaving."
Yeah, no. And I didn't want Stephanie to leave to Canada on a surprise trip, because I was like, no, you need to fight for this. You're not guaranteed a season 2. Like, you should be on the overnight. But also, Stephanie does have season 2, season 3 energy, which I think is a testament to her just being really comfortable on camera, which is a good thing.
Yeah, I'm like hopeful there. I think she was a good pick because she's so rich. I think she is kind of like, well, maybe it's just her personality, but also because she's like super wealthy. I think she's like, you can't fuck with me.
Totally. Yeah, no, she seems unassailable. And so far, I've given her all of her wins, I think. I loved when she called out Lisa and everyone agreed. Like, I'm so glad someone could tell Lisa about being late. And this Todd stuff is excellent. And then now she's just kind of poking at Alexia in like a friendly way, but she's throwing subs at her, but she's getting away with it. And Alexia cannot take it. There's some fun stuff on this yacht. Overall, I love this organic moment where they're jet skiing and Lisa says, "I'm like James Bond over here on a jet ski." It made me immediately want a movie where James Bond jet skis around, and then Kiki gets a squirt gun, puts it in her bikini, and she goes, "I feel like James Bond right now too." Two unique, independent references to James Bond, which was really fun.
Yeah, they also spend like a minute or two talking about Larsa's ass, and they're like, "It's like unbelievable. Like, what even is that?"
Yeah, they go, "This is one of the wildest asses I've ever seen in my life." And then they all get squirt guns. They spray the cast. Marisol hates Adriana so much, so she doesn't like Adriana squirting her at all. She's like, "I like being squirted from some people, but not Adriana, because she's doing it maliciously." And then once Adriana found out that Marisol didn't want to be on the yacht with her, Adriana has made Marisol her number one enemy. Like, that is the feud. That is the most potent feud I've ever seen. They're almost like, it's so hot that it's cold now. It's just simmering there. They like hate each other after these years of being on the same show.
Adriana just gets more and more wasted throughout, and at one point, it's actually kind of early on, she screams across the boats and goes, "Fuck off, you old whore."
Yeah, I mean, she's saying anything across that yacht at Marisol. Quickly, I don't know how quickly you do want to go through, but when they do sit down, or you want to talk about that dinner, unless there was anything notable. It's kind of,
I think dinner.
Yeah, so Gertie comes back, and I gotta say, the fanfare for Gertie once she gets on the yacht is very lackluster. I think she gets a hey, hi. Nothing really. And then everyone is so uncomfortable because they know the Julia thing has happened that Lisa Knockstein, as she referred to herself, her James Bond name, goes, "This is so boring and bad. Let me do something we've never done before in Housewives history. I'm going to create a game at the table," which I think was actually organic. And she goes, "Let's say something nice about each other. Let's not do who do you trust the least or who's a person that's made you mad last." She actually facilitates a game to bring some positivity. Adriana and Marisol kind of do funny silly stuff at each other. I like that you play the piano, Marisol says to Adriana, and Adriana says, I like how loyal you are to Alexia, which is, again, jabs
Yeah.
at each other. And then it opens the floodgates for Gertie and Julia to talk about theirs. And it's actually a pretty good conversation. I just wish that it wasn't the second or third time we were seeing this again.
Yeah.
Gertie re-inciting this over nothing was really detrimental to the overall resolution of this season, because now we're tired as we watch this happen again, even though the conversation is actually productive in a way. Do you know what I mean there?
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. I kind of like feel bad for Gertie because she's like really is like out on an island alone. Does she even have a single ally at this point about this?
No. So Alexia says, hey, just so you know, we all hated what you did.
Yeah.
Which is, you don't hear that very often. It's like, there's no alliances here. Gertie has Adriana. Gertie has Lisa, but also Lisa is a very fickle ally. I don't think that she really cares about anything.
No.
I mean, she cares about stuff, but she's not like going to ride for you.
If it's not about her,
If it's not about her. So no, Gertie is kind of left on an island. Gertie does imply that like she didn't get to talk to anyone for like 4 months in the off season. She goes, when I got back into this group, I just wanted you all to know like what happened in the interim. It sounds like maybe her and Julia were she only had Julia and no one has really ever like been a huge Gertie supporter. So I agree with you completely. I feel bad for Gertie, and especially in this instance, and I've already talked about how despicable what Julia did, but also Gertie is making strategic mistakes here as well. I mean, that you have to just discuss. And Alexia is trying to just say, like, no one liked the text being put up on that at your Gertie celebration of life party.
Yeah, not everyone can run a storyline, and I don't think she's someone who can.
That's a great way to say it. She floundered when she wanted to bring a storyline to the forefront. It was really a huge flop. I mean, top 50 biggest Bravo flops I've ever seen. And so then it kind of, they say Julia gets mad at Adriana for not defending her. I completely understand why Adriana does not defend Julia. And then they go, let's talk about this in private. It's kind of like, let's set up round 4 where we talk about this, which it's like, okay, we can't do this much longer. That's it. And then the next, then they have a night together. And then Alexia and Stephanie have that flare up on FaceTime, which I already kind of discussed, setting up for the future where I think I enjoy Stephanie versus Alexia so far. So if we get more moments like that, I'm going to love it. But overall, not a huge episode to really pick apart, but just overall a little bit just fun and embodying the Miami ethos, I would say.
I want more Lisa and Jody.
Oh, me too. Get Jody. I wish Jody was in the room in that yacht, just kind of popping his head out whenever.
Yeah.
I love
think Stephanie needs to host some Heather Dubrow-esque thing, like throw some money at the problem.
That is a great idea. Let Stephanie host the next thing. She already teed it up by saying there's never been a fun event. She needs to spend $80,000 like Heather and create an event where she's doing everything. And let's see, Stephanie, how you handle creating an event in the Miami universe. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. They are going to Spain though.
Maybe that's hers. Maybe that's her
I think
event.
it's like soon, like next week or something.
Oh, good. I'm excited to see a Stephanie fostered event. So anyway, I have hope for Miami. I think it's still good, and then I'm worried about OC, like we already said.
Yeah.
How do you feel? Are we done?
I think we did the mission.
Oh my God. If we did the mission, I hope we did. I hope we brought at least one smile to your face. We provided one hot take. That's the Turtle Time mission. There's also the Turtle Time report card. Did we report on news? Yes. Did we recap 2 shows? Yes. So now let's move on to the final segment where we pitch a bunch of stuff to you, right?
Yes. We always say if you just can't get enough, we offer even more. Join us on Patreon for a bonus episode per week where we recap Vanderpump Rules from the very beginning. So not only do you get a new one every Monday, but you get to listen to the 100 and whatever past episodes because we're on season 7. What else? We sell merch. We What else do we do?
We sell merch, and then please, you all completed the 500 review challenge winningly.
Yes.
I mean, I've never seen anything like it in my life. We surpassed 500 reviews, and now we have 503. So if you could just provide more and more reviews to make this one of the best rated Bravo podcasts in the universe, that is a huge win for us. And also, I do think that the Villa Rosa VIP community, especially, you know, the people who are part of that are just, it's just such a beautiful community overall. And we sort of have a direct line to all of our Villa Rosa VIPs, and we get such beautiful insight, you know, into these episodes and everything from that community. So I think it's a wonderful place to be. But now Amy and I are going to shove off. I'm going to go on my yacht. Amy's going to go on her yacht. And then we won't be back until our Monday episode, which is only available for the Patreon community. And then we'll be back next week with our 2 main feed episodes. We love you all so much. Sleep good. Have a wonderful weekend. Goodbye.